do you need?
More cold weather coming. Fool villagers. Where are their coats?
What do you need to keep these refugees warm?
Blankets, warm clothes, all of it. These poor sods lost everything when the mages and the Templars went crazy. If we were in a village, I could just pinch a blanket off a clothesline and be fine. Out here, I'm sure the apostates have plenty of supplies, just haven't been able to find them.
Farewell.
And to you.
Thank you.
You just be on your way now.
What is this place?
Map-making tenderfoots named this the Hinterlands. But right here, it's nowhere. Just some fields, now a bunch of demons. I'm Giles, by the way.
I need to be on my way.
Make a watch over you then.
Something like that.
It's not me.
Could be better.
Keep an eye out.
It's good to have
Something like that.
men around in case anything happens here in Haven.
Now, don't you worry about that sort of thing, girl.
Goodbye.
Right. Should serve you well. Looks fine.
Smithing is hot work. Here, have something to drink. These truths the Maker has revealed to me. As there is but one world, one life, one death.
It occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
I thought you knew that.
I suppose I could ask Liliana. She has collected a frightening amount of information on you. But I don't want to ask her. I want to hear it from you.
I came here from Sahara, actually.
That far away?
My family came there from the northern islands. We landed there after crossing the Great Ocean.
The Great Ocean.
Yes. Lands in the Far East have mountains twice as large as the ones here.
I see. Perhaps asking Liliana was the better choice after all.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Church. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
What are Seekers, exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine, and not even her, truthfully.
So, the Seekers commanded the Templars?
No, the Order didn't assume command until after the rebellion. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, but that depends on the individual.
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will. Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
I've no more questions.
Mr. Harry said we would. But Harry doesn't know.
I've read your Tale of the Champion, and I have a few questions.
That's a pretty common reaction. Go ahead.
What happened to the mage who destroyed the Kirkwall Chantry? The book never said.
He fled Kirkwall with the mages from the Circle. Stayed with them a while, but he had to move on. Somehow a lot of mages blamed him for making them live as fugitives. I don't know where he is now, and I don't want to know.
There is no way Hawk really could have killed the Arishok. It would have started a war with the Qunari.
I was told later that the Qunari disavowed his actions. Apparently the Arishok didn't get permission before he attacked Kirkwall, and the Qun didn't want another result in March. When they finally sent a ship to haul the Red Dreadnought away, they just said, "We will never speak of this again." As far as I can tell, that's the Qun's version of an apology.
Where are the rest of Hawk's associates now?
Merrill decided to look after the elves left homeless by the fighting. She's done a pretty good job of keeping them away from the mages and Templars, so far. I guess she has plenty of practice avoiding stupid human battles with her old Dalish clan. Isabella went back to the Raiders. She's calling herself an admiral now. I don't know if she's actually in charge or just has a really big hat. Might be the same thing, honestly. Sebastian went back to Starkhaven. I'm sure he's boring all sorts of people there. Hawk's little sister is in the Free Marches, helping some of the other survivors from the Kirkwall Circle. Aveline is still guard captain. I'm pretty sure Kirkwall would fall into the sea if she quit her job. Need something?
The red lyrium we found at the temple seemed to upset you.
My brother Bartrand and I sort of discovered red lyrium during an expedition in the Deep Roads. We located an ancient thaig, so old it barely looked dwarven. There was this idol there made of it. Bartrand brought it back to the surface, and, well, everything's gone downhill from there.
What makes it special?
Regular lyrium can mess you up pretty badly, but you have to ingest it for that to happen. Red lyrium messes with your mind when you're just near the stuff. You hear singing, get violent, paranoid, and then it does creepy shit. Makes things float, brings statues to life. It also turned Kirkwall's Knight Commander to lyrium. Everyone's been kept at least 100 paces from it since.
How did the red lyrium get in the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I don't know. So as far as I knew, the only piece to make it to the surface was destroyed. And the location of the thaig it came from is a secret. Did someone find more of it in the Deep Roads? That's not a cheery thought.
So what is it? Just another kind of lyrium?
The red stuff is lyrium like a dragon is a lizard. It's not just a different color. It has a whole host of weirdness all its own. I've written to every mining cast house in Orzammar. No one's seen this stuff before or knows where it came from.
I think that's enough on red lyrium.
Yeah, not really my favorite subject.
So it's true. Butler has stand on us. I hope my hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports. There were so many questions surrounding Farria's death. You'd think we wouldn't notice. He's killed Farria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Glad to see traitors are dealt with quickly.
We must do whatever it takes to protect our interests. I am pleased that you agree.
It's good to know that protecting the Inquisition is a priority for you.
Of course. I do not neglect my responsibilities. We will make the Inquisition a force to fear. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do. Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the Warden who ended the Blight, don't you?
I count him among my closest friends. I still write to him for advice when I can. He hasn't replied to my letters in some time. I try not to worry about it. He can take care of himself.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hog twins. Bethany in particular. She would spend time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Sacred Arthur told me that he can't let the herbs go for anything.
As I explored the Fade, I felt the presence of an intriguing artifact in the hinterlands. If you are willing, I would like to locate it. I have marked its location as best I could determine.
I'd like to know more about you, Solus. Why not?
Privacy, caution, concern about the direction of this Inquisition once our work is done.
Then don't tell me. I wasn't asking as part of the Inquisition.
I'm sorry. With so much fear in the air. What would you know of me?
You said you'd traveled to many different places.
This world, or its memory, is reflected in the Fade. Dream in ancient ruins, you may see a city lost to history. Some of my fondest memories were found in crumbling cities, long picked dry by treasure seekers. The best of the battlefields. Spirits press so tightly on the veil that you can slip across with but a thought.
Any place in particular?
I dreamt at Ostagar. I witnessed the brutality of the Darkspawn and the valor of the Ferelden warriors. I saw Alistair and the hero Ferelden light the signaled fire, and Logain's infamous betrayal of Kaelin's forces.
I've heard the stories. It would be interesting to hear what it was really like.
That's just it. In the Fade, I see reflections created by spirits who react to the emotions of the warriors. One moment, I see heroic wardens lighting the fire, and a power-mad villain sneering as he lets King Kaelin fall. The next, I see an army overwhelmed and a veteran commander refusing to let more soldiers die in a lost cause.
And you can't tell which is real.
It is the Fade. They are all real.
Have you always traveled and studied alone?
Not at all. I have built many lasting friendships. Spirits of wisdom, possessed of ancient knowledge, happy to share what they had seen. Spirits of purpose helped me search. Even wisps, curious and playful, would point out treasures I might have missed.
You trust these spirits not to possess you the first time you accidentally make a wish?
Do you trust your friends not to turn on you?
Well, yes, but they're people.
Ah, of course.
You know what I mean.
Are people only people as they are flesh and blood? Is Cassandra defined by her cheekbones and not her faith? Vadrik by his chest hair and not his wit?
Spirits are bound by their nature. You said it yourself. They're shaped by contact with real people.
Just as Liliana was shaped by contact with divine Justinian. As those who serve the Inquisition are shaped by you. If I change your mind in this conversation, does that mean you're no more real than a spirit?
You've thought about this.
On occasion, yes.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Your kind killed the most holy.
Lies. Your kind let her die.
Shut your mouth, mate!
Enough!
Knight Captain.
That is not my title. We are not Templars any longer. We are all part of the Inquisition.
And what does that mean exactly?
Back already, Chancellor. Haven't you done enough?
I'm curious, Commander, as to how your Inquisition and its herald will restore order as you've promised.
Of course you are. Back to your duties, all of you. Mages and Templars were already at war. Now they're blaming each other for the Divine's death.
Which is why we require a proper authority to guide them back to order.
Who? You? Random clerics who weren't important enough to be at the Conclave?
The Rebel Inquisition and its so-called Herald of Andraste? I think not.
If the proper authority hadn't completely failed, the Conclave wouldn't have been needed.
So you suggest I blame the Chantry and exalt a murderer? What of justice?
That won't help restore order in the here and now.
Order will never be restored so long as this rebellion is allowed to fester.
Remind me why you're allowing the Chancellor to stay?
Clearly, your Templar knows where to draw the line.
He's toothless. There's no point turning him into a martyr simply because he runs at the mouth. The Chancellor's a good indicator of what to expect in Val Royeaux, however.
Well, let's hope we find solutions, and not a cathedral full of chancellors.
The stuff of nightmares.
Mock, if you will. I'm certain the Maker is less amused.
These truths the Maker has revealed
Apothecary
to
Adon
me.
will have more poultices
As there
for the
is
injured
but
as
one
soon as
world,
possible, revered mother.
One life,
Thank you,
one
child.
death.
You are
There
doing
is
the
but
Maker's
one
work.
God,
Have you
and
been able to
he
save
is
many
our
people?
Maker.
More than if we had not tried. Greetings, Herald of Andraste. How fares your quest to seal the breach?
Not as well as it should. How can people focus on trivialities when faced with the breach?
It is easy for us to imagine that mundane matters fall aside in tumultuous times. The Chant of Light does not speak of feeding troops or arranging meetings or any such mundane concerns. But every organizational detail you contend with, Andraste herself once faced. These trivialities are steps on your path to victory, even if history never remembers them.
I don't believe in the Maker.
Fair enough. But Andraste lived, and her deeds, however shrouded by myth, have their basis in fact. If you do not believe the Chant of Light, at least consider it a map of the dangers you might face. In any case, I pray this Inquisition proves less brutal than its predecessors.
Can you tell me about the original Inquisition?
The original Inquisition was formed after the First Blight, well before the Chantry as we know it. The Inquisitors were hunters, zealots, who tracked and killed cultists and dangerous mages. As Andraste rose to power, the Inquisition came into her service. Instead of hunting those who would do harm, the Inquisitors spread the chant of light by force.
It sounds as though it was necessary at the time.
Perhaps. They committed acts I find reprehensible, but they lived in a time with no circles. There was no justice, no safety from the danger of mages, or abominations, except for them. In any case, once the chant of light had spread far and wide, there was less need for zealots. The Inquisitors became the seekers of truth, and eventually the Templars.
And now the Inquisition has been called again to restore order. By force.
Do you know what impresses me most about the original Inquisition? They fought horrific battles, killed and died for their cause, and when it was time, they put their swords away. Perhaps the name was divine, Justinia's message, that when the Inquisition is needed, it will strike without mercy. But when its work is done, it will put its sword away.
Is there anything I can do to help you or your people?
My healers would benefit from more supplies. We have run short of even common goods with so many wounded. If you could deliver this list and the items on it to Quartermaster Thren, she could get us what we need. It may not seem like much, but it would enable my healers to save many lives. Farewell.
Research in the nave wishes to verify that the infections have decreased in
all
number.
creation.
Yes.
And
Thank you
for a
for your
time you dwelled among them.
That can't be it.
Over there,
Perhaps Leliana
as
was...
a gardener watches the
No,
earth
that seems
and
unlikely.
finds life.
What can... Oh, hello, Master Kadash.
Hello? Can I help you with something?
I'll speak with you later.
Travel safely.
Something on your mind, Ambassador?
You could say that. I was speaking with Leliana and... Well, we discussed how to make people understand that a dwarf could be a herald of Andraste.
That's out of my hands. I can't help what people think.
I have concerns about more than your position as Andraste's herald. Leliana was telling me rumors that... It sounds preposterous, but... There are stories circulating that you were part of a criminal organization. The Dwarven Carta.
I used to be. The Carter doesn't like their own to get too famous.
So it's true. Oh my. Were you only smuggling at least? Exchanging a few goods on the surface?
I guarded caravans of smuggled goods. Rivals often ambushed us. There were protection rackets, blood feuds, targeted...
That's quite enough. I have a clear picture. I'll handle the subject of your past carefully, Herald. I'm sure you can't miss that life.
Why wouldn't I? I was the best at what I did. My old bosses are probably tearing their hair out trying to replace me.
I will take your word for it, so long as they won't be able to win you back. That sort of competition is the last thing we require. Greetings.
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Sir Griffith of Denerim, a most distinguished knight of the realm. He's defeated darkspawn, slain demons, chased down abominations. Just don't ask him about it over dinner. He spares no detail. Good day to you.
Why did you join the Inquisition?
I'd been considering leaving my post in Antiva for a new challenge when Leliana recruited me. There's such unrest in Talos, and the Inquisition seems a promising method to stop it. It's to everyone's benefit if we prevent the Mage-Templar conflict from spreading further.
So, was it the prospect of stability that drew you here?
The full impact of the Mage Rebellion has yet to be felt, and that was before the death of the Divine. The violence must be curbed before we see it turn to full-scale war.
I can only imagine the bloodshed if it escalates further.
I'm afraid history holds many examples of what will happen if it does.
Let's speak later.
Goodbye. Let's see what we have. At your service.
O Maker, hear my cry. Seat me by your side of death. Make me one. Maker, though the darkness comes upon me, I shall embrace the